Power outages are becoming more common everywhere. Hurricanes, wildfires, ice storms, heat waves. If you live in an apartment, your options for backup power are pretty limited. You can't put panels on the roof, you might not have a balcony, but you do have windows. I wanted to find out if I could install a big solar panel in my apartment window and actually charge a Jackery power bank, enough to keep me going through a multi-day power outage. I spent about $150 finding out. The point of this is to show you some of the experiments that I've made at my own expense so you can save money by not buying the wrong things for your particular situation. I've already been experimenting with small folding solar panels in my windows, the kind that backpackers use, and they work well for charging small devices. I use them every day. LED lights, small power banks, fans, but these panels are optimized for USB output. So in a real power outage that lasts for several days, you need to recharge something bigger. A power bank with enough capacity to run a laptop or keep lights going, maybe a router, or even a refrigerator. And those power banks need a different kind of input, not USB, but a higher voltage DC connection. I got a viewer comment on one of my other videos that got me thinking. It said they were already blocking the light from their window anyway, so why not put a solar panel there instead? That's when I decided to experiment. I wanted to level up. So I ordered 3 things. A Callsun 120-watt rigid bifacial solar panel on sale for $89 on Amazon. A Zibu solar MPPT meter to measure what the panel is producing, and an adapter cable, MC4 to 8mm, to connect the panel to my Jackery. So that was almost $150 total. The Callsun panel appealed to me for a few reasons. It's efficient, it's designed to handle partial shading, and unlike a big folding panel, it could potentially fit in a window. But before I was able to test it, I ran into the first problem that nobody talks about with solar gear: compatibility. I already have solar panels and power banks, but almost none of them talk to each other. If this looks familiar, you're not alone. So I already owned a 100-watt folding panel, a Marlboro. On paper, that should be more than enough to charge a power bank. But big folding panels are designed for the outdoors. They're awkward inside an apartment when you unfold them, they're hard to angle properly, and I can't find the cables that came with mine. Without those cables, I can only charge by USB. That means despite its 100-watt rating, it's no more useful for charging a power bank than my little backpacker solar panels that output 10 to 20 watts. Just because the box says more watts, that doesn't help if you can't make the right connection. So before you buy anything new, do a cable audit. Figure out what you have, what connects to what, and what's actually missing. The Callsun rigid panel is about 43 inches tall and 21 inches wide. In my case, it's more manageable than the Marlboro folding panel, and my living room has a 94-inch wide window that faces south with 3 plexiglass storm panels on the interior side. I figured I could remove one of those plexiglass panels, and then I could slide the solar panel into the gap behind the outer window. The plexiglass could hold it in place. No tape, no suction cups, no drilling. The panel is stable and protected. I thought it was a pretty elegant solution for this apartment, with one significant problem. The solar panel is completely vertical. A vertical south-facing panel sounds logical, but solar panels produce their best output when they're aimed directly at the sun. And in late spring and summer, the sun is up high in the sky. A vertical panel might be optimized for winter when the sun is lower on the horizon. But I was testing in May, so my timing isn't great. Before I connected the panel to my Jackery, I wanted to measure what it was actually producing. That's why I got this Zibu MPPT solar meter. Connecting it to the MC4 cables on the panel was harder than I thought. Everything is hard plastic, nothing is pliable, so it was kind of hard to snap together. But I got it connected and I took my first reading. It was about 20 volts. But that's all I saw. I looked at the manual and it's not a great one, and I found the answer. The VOC reading is for voltage, but the other readings need enough current to give you a complete set of measurements. In this outdoor light, without direct sun, there simply wasn't enough information. The meter wasn't broken. The panel wasn't broken. It just needed enough sunlight to give me a complete picture. With the panel installed in the window and the meter giving me at least a partial reading, it was time to connect it to a power bank. So I chose my oldest Jackery, the Explorer 160. The MC4 to 8mm adapter cable connected the panel to the Jackery's DC input port. And the charging light came on. Something was happening. If you're worried about connecting a solar panel that shows a higher voltage than your power bank's output, don't worry. The Jackery 160 outputs 12 volts, but it can handle up to 30 volts of solar input. It has an internal charge controller that handles the conversion. You're not going to damage it by connecting a panel within the specified range. So, how much did it charge? Over 2 hours, the battery gained 1%. A few hours later, another 1%. The next day I tried it again with the same kind of light, and I got the same results. It took 2 overcast afternoons to go slowly from 95% to 100% on the Jackery. And I put a small clock next to it so you could see exactly how much time had passed. 2 hours, 1%. To put that in perspective, at 1 watt of input, charging the Jackery 160 from empty to full would take about 167 hours, about a week of daylight. And what about the solar panel? On an overcast day, the Callsun was getting less than 1% of its rated capacity when it was completely vertical. I think these results were close to worst-case conditions. No direct sun, wrong time of year, wrong angle. But I can't put the panel someplace else in my apartment. So what did I actually learn from all of this? A 120-watt panel sitting vertically in a window on an overcast day produces almost nothing. The same panel angled toward direct sunlight might produce significantly more. The panel itself isn't the limiting factor. In summer, the sun is high in the sky. It's almost directly overhead. In winter, the sun is lower on the horizon so it can hit a vertical panel more directly. I tested it in May. Come back in winter. I own a 100-watt folding panel that can't charge my Jackery power bank, maybe because I don't have the right cables for it. So do a cable audit and make sure you have the right connectors. I have a 20-watt flex solar panel hanging flat inside my skylight, and it produced 3.44 watts on the same overcast day, while my 120-watt rigid panel in the window produced roughly 1 watt vertically. Location and angle win every time. And finally, this panel could be useful even when it's overcast. It can trickle charge a big power bank like the Jackery in non-emergency conditions. That way, if you do have a power outage, you won't start with a half-empty power bank because you forgot to charge it ahead of time. And one thing that surprised me, every component in your solar chain has a ceiling or a limit. The Jackery 160 accepts up to a maximum of 42 watts of solar input regardless of the rating on your solar panel. In my apartment, I'll probably never get close to that limit, which means the 120-watt panel rating is simply academic for my situation. This experiment isn't finished. I haven't had a really sunny day with direct light yet, and until I do, I don't have a test of what this panel can actually generate under good conditions. When that day comes, I'll retest it. I'll report back with real numbers. If you live in an apartment and you're trying to figure out backup power for emergencies, I hope this saved you some money and some frustration. Links to the gear are in the description below and also to my previous Windows Solar videos. If you find this useful, like and subscribe. This is Ground Level Guide, practical stuff for people who live in the real world.